Hi, Bashi.
Hi, Sufi.
We talked a little bit about your bad travel. I had a bad travel day. We were going to New Mexico. Not easy to get to New Mexico from New York City, and we flew through Dallas. And one of these things, I'm a little bit surprised the airline even booked the connection because it was the same airline.
Mm-hmm.
And it was only about 45 minutes between flights. And again, if you're flying out of New York City, a lot of times, to no fault of anyone, it's just going to be a 20-minute delay.
Sure.
And now all of a sudden, basically the gate's closed.
Yeah.
So sure enough, we land. I don't want to shame people, but they did everything they could on this flight. The flight attendants kept making an announcement, which is a lot of people have connections.
Yeah.
If you are not trying to make a connection, wait for other people to get off. And I'm
happy to wait if I need.
Happy to wait.
Yeah.
The minute the bell hit, literally everybody got up.
Oh my
There
God.
were maybe 4 people who were, as we tried to wiggle our way down the aisle, stayed in their seats. Let me just say, those 4 people, you are heroes.
Yeah.
And I appreciate your sacrifice, although it wasn't really sacrifice because you were just going to go wait at the gate. So, and then, but then the other thing is we run full speed to our gate, and we get there, and there's just a woman at the desk, and she's already moved on.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? She's not even thinking about that flight anymore.
Yeah, she's got another flight to deal with.
She's got another flight to do. And, at some point, there are just rules in place, and the rule is the clock. And once the clock goes, and she's like, the gate is closed.
Yeah.
And then I don't even know why I asked this. I'm part of the problem, too. I go, how much did we miss it by? And she's like, 6 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had run ahead to get there first.
Okay.
To try to, because again, if the door was open, it'd be they're right there. Look, they're coming.
Yeah, I've done that. I've done that before.
So, and then everybody else shows up, and Alexi and Ariel are like, what happened? And I'm like, it's closed. And they're like, how long ago? And this is why I'm glad I'd asked, because now I got it ready. I'm like, 7 minutes,
Yeah.
And then they, of course, have to go try to convince the woman. You know what I mean? And I'm like, it's
Mackenzie's always trying to convince
I'm like,
gate
it's
agents
over.
to break the rules that are I feel like, federal mandatory
these are guidelines.
rules.
And I, also, by the way, I'll accept a no right away. So I think Alexi's argument is you accept bad news too easily.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't blame her for giving it an extra effort, but I was like, bye. She's like, where are you going? I'm like, I'm going to go rebook. Goodbye. Because we're not getting on that flight. And I'm like, if you get on it, I'll see you there. But anyway, we, Alexi and Addie, which was good news because I think Addie was going to have the hardest time in the airport. They got on the next flight, but we had to wait. We had to wait in the Dallas airport 4 hours. But for whatever reason, the boys just got in a groove where they're like, we want to read our books. And I was like,
great.
Right. And then I was like,
perfect.
I'm gonna read a book. And to be honest, the 3 of us sitting in chairs at an airport where everybody was reading, I'm like, I want to bottle this and sell it.
Yeah, you could duplicate that in your living room.
Yeah, that's true.
I
think they don't, but that's the thing though. They need to be somewhere where there's no, none of their other shit's there.
Right.
So I think we could, I think what we're going to do is I'm going to tell them we're going somewhere. I'm not even going to buy plane tickets.
Yeah.
But I'll take them to the airport and then tell them, because they don't know how to read the ETA boards. I'll just be like, our flight's delayed. And then we'll just read for 4 hours. Then I'll be like, now it's canceled.
Yeah.
We have to go home.
So how much later were you there than Alexi and Addie?
5 hours, but no complaints. We rolled in, Alexi and her parents had dinner ready, and it was totally fine.
Yeah.
So, it was not the worst disaster. And, sometimes, sometimes it doesn't break your way. Travel-wise.
Oh, I mean, you have to let go. You have to not. It's like being mad at traffic. To what end?
Yeah. I will also say that thing about don't be the first one up if other people are trying to get out. I was very good in the sort of era of my life where no one was depending on me. No one needed me to be anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I never rushed to get on the first shuttle bus back to baggage claim. I was always like, yeah, you guys, anytime there were people with kids, I'm like, you go.
Yeah.
I'm good. I literally know where to be.
Yeah. I think that a lot of times I'm like not ready even to get out of my aisle on a plane, and people are, ripping their bags down from the overheads, and I'll let a couple aisles behind me just go, and then there's going to be a gap where somebody gets held up.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, I'm going to take that window, but I'm not going to.
I will sit and I'll let everybody get off, but I will make a big show about how cool I'm being. I'm like, not pretty nice. Look at this dude.
Yeah.
He's letting you go. Yeah. All right. We've got a great conversation with Jessica Kirson. We're excited for you to hear it. Check it out.
Enjoy.
Family trips with the Meyers Brothers. Family trips with the Meyers Brothers. Here we go.
Hi.
Hello.
How are you?
Good.
We're wonderful. How are you?
You're just framed in blue light. It is just an incredible.
I know. I think that's what you're supposed to do. I don't know.
Yeah.
Who cares? Yeah.
It is. I mean, I bought this dumb backdrop, and everyone says it just looks like I'm in a void. You look like you're living an actual life.
Yeah,
like
you're a
you're a
human
real
being.
person. Yeah.
Yeah. You look like you're in a cave.
Yeah. I'm in my dining room. I don't know why I
wow.
don't just show my dining room.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure it's beautiful. I did Zoom shows in my walk-in closet the entire time with backdrop, like a blanket behind me. It was hilarious.
Comedy shows?
Yeah.
So how were
amazing.
you? I mean, I think I did one or two, but they were like almost like charity gigs. Were you actually doing gigs like during the
Yeah.
pandemic?
Yeah. Because like I had to make money and I was going to go out of my mind if I didn't do it.
Yeah.
And so how was it working? Did you sort of have the initiative to figure out how to do it, or did someone come to you and say, "Hey, we're doing these Zoom shows"?
I did my own Zoom show with Rachel Feinstein every week, who's my best friend.
Yes, of course.
And we invited people on, and they would just, and like all these random friends showed up. Like Gilbert Gottfried always came on with his kids, and like Amy Schumer. It was hilarious, and people would donate money, and we were just because I ended up on like support from the government, as the breadwinner and all this. It was crazy after like doing so well in my career. It was like.
Do you think you came out of it better at comedy? Do you think it was like a helpful thing? Okay.
I mean, I think it helped me like keep the muscle going.
Yeah.
And stuff, but I'm so interactive with the crowd. So I was like doing crowd work on people in these boxes. It was actually really funny. I ended up dressing up as an old Jewish woman and I Zoom bombed people.
Oh, great.
I did it for Passover and all these other things where people would hire me. And I'd be on and be like, "Where's Joshua?" Like, just look at the screen. This isn't my family. And I have video of it. It's hysterical. People like let me stay in the Passover Zoom because I look like an old woman that was lost.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Did you, do you remember your first gig out of the pandemic where you were in front of live audiences again?
Well, I did one with David Tell, and it was behind a plastic screen outside at Governor's.
Yeah. Great.
It was I did one on a car where people would honk if they were laughing. I mean,
I've
it's
seen
really
some video of people doing
Yeah.
But I remember I was in a parking lot the first time I did stand up out of the pandemic, and I didn't realize at the time the audience was so hot because they would have been hot for anything.
Right.
That I walked off and I was like, I might have figured this out forever.
Yeah. I mean, I was killing when I got out of the pandemic. It was like ripping the room apart with new material. Yeah. People were just dying to get out.
They were dying to get out. And then it was not about me. It was about just out.
Right, exactly. Yeah. They could have been seeing someone who's never done it before.
Or just sitting in a parking lot with other people and no show.
Right.
It's like chairs in a parking lot. Sounded pretty rad.
Yeah.
So you grew up in New Jersey.
I did. I grew up in South Orange, New Jersey.
How far outside the city is that?
It's close. It's like, I don't know, a half hour
great.
drive, but yeah.
Did you come into the city a lot as a kid?
Oh my God, yeah. I was always in the city. And then when I was a teenager, I always came in to go to like Canal Street and all those places and get a fake ID and pot.
Yeah.
That's great.
Were those the fake IDs where you would sit in front of a large sort of license and they would take your picture so it would all be... Yeah.
It's amazing those worked. I mean, I
Yeah.
would get in places with these horrible IDs.
Yeah.
Do you think that they maybe the people working the door didn't care that much? Do you think that was part of the? It's
I don't
just
think
theater?
they cared at all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, you were coming in.
That helps.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I'm 6 years old. Like, I want to come in and dance. Yeah.
Did your parents bring you into the city for cultural stuff? Was that a part of your upbringing?
Yeah. I always went in the city for like shows. My grandmother would take my sister and I to Broadway shows all the time and just fall asleep.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
That's
But
great.
she always did that with us. But yeah, I did a lot of stuff in the city, which is great.
When you started going on your own, were your parents like wary of the fact that you were a teenager going to hang out in New York City, or because they grew up so close to it, they were like, she knows her way around?
I think they weren't really concerned. My mom was like flighty and all over the place. There's a lot to that story, but she's like a therapist who was always working. And so she was just like, whatever, go. And yeah, they didn't really care if I died, you know?
Therapist who worked out of the house, correct?
Yes, in the basement.
Wow. What a trip.
Was there, therapists sort of famously have like, there's a door that you come in and then there's another one that you exit through. Was there sort of that like garage stepladder down, or did you see everyone coming in that needed therapy?
It's such an incredible story of what I grew up with, because my mom, there were no cell phones or, I feel like I'm 90, like there were no cell phones, but there wasn't. And she would book all these clients. I know this is going to sound crazy, but she wouldn't keep a record of it. So they would just show up to the house and I was like her secretary, and I would like bring them into the den and be like, she'll be here soon. Like I had no idea what was going on, and she would forget. So sometimes they would sit there for hours and just wait for her. And I'd be like, do you want something to drink? Can I? So sometimes it was like a group session. Like there'd be like 4 people waiting in the den for, And there was a lot of things that happened because of that. It was like, my house was like a sitcom. It was unbelievable.
At what age did you appreciate that it was funny instead of strange?
I still don't think it's funny. I'm very damaged from it, to be honest.
Would people ever come in that you knew, like parents of your friends or, coaches or teachers or?
No, that's a great question. She was so private about it that I don't even know if someone's parents, like maybe from my school or something, but it was so insane because she would bring them down to the basement. And I had no way of reaching her. So I could have been like dying in the attic where I lived, and I couldn't interrupt her. But I mean, I use this in my act, but she always told me to be quiet. Like, I can hear you walking around. You need to stop flushing the toilet. Susan's having a really hard time. I'm like, well, I just ate 6 pizzas and beheaded my Barbies, but good luck to Susan. Like, we were a mess. But it was a lot to have these clients in the house the whole time. It was like a mental institution.
Yeah.
So if your grandmother took you into the city, she was local then?
Yeah, she lived in New York City, and my other grandmother lived in Jersey in the all year, and then in Florida, of course, in the winter.
Of course. Yeah.
Did you go a lot to Florida? Was that a part of your upbringing?
Yes.
Taking trips? Okay. And was that a trip you were excited for?
Well, I went all the time, and it was a little tense because I knew I'd be woken up at like 5:30 in the morning and asked what I want for dinner. And it was all centered around food. And it was, you're not eating enough, you're eating too much. I mean, it was just, I was never like excited for those Florida trips. But I learned the culture, and believe it or not, I for years have been performing at all those developments, like in South Florida.
Oh, I bet you crush.
Oh, I've learned how to do them. The first time, you'll love this, Seth, but I opened for the Platters. The first time I ever did them. There's like one original platter.
Yeah, no, whenever they're like the Platters, there's a big old
like
asterisk.
20. Yeah. And I did all the Century Villages in Florida. It was a nightmare. Like, I was not good enough or funny enough. I bombed so bad. I started out doing a half an hour and ended up doing like 6 minutes.
How old were you?
I was in my 30s.
Okay.
Can you just paint a picture for us of what a room in one of those developments looks like? Is it 100 people? Is it 200 people? Is it folding chairs?
Well, first of all, you have to sign your life away when you do these shows because they want a meet and greet, a show, and a Q&A for like $11. And so I always have to do this meet and greet where they're just staring at me, just like.
Yeah. The meet and greet is better. A meet and greet after a show, though, I'm sure they're mostly complimentary, though.
Well, this is the funny thing, and I've done this too as a bit, but their comments, they always come up to you and they always start out nice and end up nasty. It's like, right. I thought you were very talented, but no one around me laughed once. Not one person. You should kill yourself. Or they always say, you're so pretty up close.
Yeah. It's so
on
funny.
Stage, it's not good.
Sometimes, like, even in the YouTube comments for my show, people say, I don't care what anybody says. I think you're great. I'm like, what is it? Well, what have they been? So what's the word on the street there?
I know. I mean, I thought you were funny.
What was the community in Florida? Was it a retirement community or what was?
I mean, I've done retirement communities, country clubs, private events like fundraisers, but they all, it used to be very hard for me because they would all just stare with that face. Mm-hmm. And I used to react to it. And then I stopped reacting and a comic said to me, you need to understand they're seeing you as like their granddaughter or their daughter, so they don't want you to like make fun of yourself too much. But they heckle.
That's so funny. It's funny that it came from a place of sweetness.
Yeah, it's true. It really, some of them are very hostile. They just yell out. They're like, this isn't funny. It's not funny. One time a woman had her head down the whole time in the front. And I swear in the middle of my act, she just lifted her head and she goes, you're all over the place.
I like that it's like a very funny Jewish grandmother audience, whereas like, it's not that they dislike you. They're just disappointed. They expected more. They wanted more for you in life.
Yeah. Well, they'll also say, one woman, who hired her? Great. I don't understand. We paid for this?
Great.
Yeah.
Hey, we're going to take a quick break and hear from some of our sponsors. Support comes from Cayman Jack, America's #1 margarita. What's up, Baji?
Hey, Sufi.
Summer's coming.
Oh, yeah. It's coming.
I know what you like to drink in the summer.
A margarita. It just feels right.
Yeah, it just feels right in the summer. It's good all 12 months of the year, but the summer is a good time to kick off your 12 months of margaritas. Cayman Jack brings the margarita taste from your favorite beach bar. Wherever you are, no mixing, no fuss. Made with real blue agave nectar and lime juice, it's the premium margarita-flavored experience that fits in your hand.
You know what I like about cracking a Cayman Jack, Suf?
What's that?
It's a transformative experience.
Oh.
It transports you to your margarita state of mind, that beachy, tropical paradise where your legendary flavor dreams come true.
Perfect for days you're by the pool, house parties, or just hanging with your crew. It's available in a variety of flavors. A variety, I tell you.
Yeah. You live in New York, I'm out in LA, and we've already had some pretty hot days. And I've already had an occasion to be dipping in a buddy's pool, and I just love floating around in a pool with a Cayman Jack margarita, sipping on that, little music going. It feels like you're on vacation.
So crack into your margarita state of mind. Pick up Cayman Jack at your local store or visit CaymanJack.com to find it near you. Please drink responsibly. Premium malt beverage with natural flavors. American Vintage Beverage Co., Chicago, Illinois. Support comes from Fitbod. Hi, Baji.
Hi, Sufi.
Fitbod. It's taken the nation by storm, and you're a fan.
I am a fan. Sufi, got this new workout app, Fitbod. It's incredible. You tell this app what you have in your home gym, or you can just say, I don't have anything. I just want to do body weight exercises. And it'll create a program for you to help you meet the goals that you want to meet. If you want to get all swole, you can do that. If you want to just be more fit, you can do that. You sort of dictate what you want to get out of this app, and then it delivers workouts that are specifically tailored to you. It changes muscle groups from day to day, so you're not overworking one muscle group, you're not neglecting another muscle group, and it just puts you on a great path to feeling better, looking better, and getting more fit.
You know what, buddy? Sold.
Yeah.
I'm sold. And because I have some exciting news, not just for our listeners, but for me. Get in shape this summer with Fitbod. Join Fitbod today to get your personalized workout plan. Get 25% off your subscription or try the app free for 7 days at fitbod.me/trip. That's fitbod.me/trip.
Here we go.
When you were young and you would go to these communities, because we've had other guests who would do this thing and they'd go down and there'd be other kids, other grandkids.
Mhm.
Did you have a community of people that you would see every year that you got closer with over time?
Yeah, I mean, you would see the same kids and it was fun. I mean, go to the pool and play sports and do all kinds of things. But again, everything centered around the food. So there was always pressure about the next meal.
Yeah. And now, was the food good or was it just a
It
sort
was
of
really
boilerplate? Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
And was it
okay.
being sort of prepared in your grandmother's house, or was there sort of a community center that you would go to, or was it?
No, there's actual restaurants.
Okay.
There's like a main restaurant and they have honestly the best salad bar you could ever have. It has.
And as a kid, a salad bar is
pretty
nuts.
great.
Yeah.
This is the best thing. They have a pickle bar. It's the best part of the whole thing with all kinds of pickles and like green tomatoes.
I like
would
a pickle bar.
Stock up on that. I know. I love pickles. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I think a salad bar I'm just going to have the pickle bar, just that part.
yeah,
But like
the
a long pickle bar.
Yeah, but this is the thing. The salad bar had like corned beef, pastrami, roast beef. Like it was really good.
Yeah.
All kinds of soups and.
Well, again, if they're going to heckle mid-act and say, who booked her, I'm assuming if the salad bar wasn't up to par, they were going to hear about it at the
yeah.
at the
I mean,
front
if it was
desk.
Jackie Mason, it would have been like an amazing steak, lobster, that whole
Yes.
thing. But it
Did
was-
you, as when you were little, did you ever go to like a performance of somebody who was down doing those kind of shows?
Yeah, I mean, they had like, I didn't know what was going on, but I actually performed with a lot of those guys when I started out, like Freddie Roman and Dick Capri and all of them. And I would just bomb and they would kill. Like I've never seen people kill the way that those comics would kill.
Now I imagine Freddie Roman at that point is probably not trying out much new material when he's going up. Like
they all did. They're all each other's material.
Right.
They'd be like, what did the waiter say to the group of Jewish women sitting in a restaurant? And everyone would go, what? And you go, is anything okay? He would just crush.
So, I can imagine as like a young comic, one, they know who Freddie is. Two, he's doing material that has like been tested for 100 years.
Right.
Like it must have been so hard to come up as a new face who was trying new
It
jokes.
was horrible. I'm telling you, people would walk out. I mean, it was really the hardest gigs I've ever done.
Now that must make you better as a comedian. Like
It
sure,
made me a lot
COVID.
better.
Yeah, right.
It did.
Josh and I used to do, we worked for an improv comedy theater in Amsterdam. And I used to always say, like, no matter how bad a show's going, at least I'm not trying to make Dutch people laugh.
I know they're the worst.
Yeah. So, like, at some point, like, I think doing those early gigs where you're against, like, an impossible audience is incredibly helpful.
I think it was more helpful than doing like, a club in New York at 2 in the morning with drunk people or prom kids throwing things at me,
Yeah, because they're actually paying attention. Like it's the worst is when you bomb to an audience that's listening.
So true.
Like with drunk people, you're like, I bombed, but like, and everybody's like, oh, they weren't listening. But like, no, they were definitely dialed in and just did not care for it.
Really listening because they have to make sure it's worth their money. They are like hooked in. Yeah.
Also, listening is now, requires a little extra effort at that age.
Right, exactly. I mean, some of them, they were, 80s and 90s. Some had already passed and they're just in.
They don't
just waiting to be wheeled out.
It's rude to the performer to clear them out mid-show. Did you, and what was your sibling situation growing up?
So I grew up with one sister between my parents, my older sister, Jennifer. Then my dad got remarried and I have two halves.
Right.
And then my mom got remarried to Zach Braff's father.
Gotcha.
And there were 4 kids there. Yeah.
Wow. So
Yeah.
so you and your sister, 2 halves, and then 4 steps.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
what is the age gap from top to bottom of all those kids?
My oldest sibling is Adam, who is he's the oldest, and then it goes down. Like my sister, my other stepbrother Josh, me, my stepsister Shoshana, and then Zach, and then I have 2 halves that are younger.
Wow. And so Zach, by the way, a year between us in college, a year between Josh.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
What
so
Small
funny.
world.
How old were you when you got your step siblings?
Well, that's funny because my mom started dating Zach's brother, Josh, their father, and Josh was one of my best friends in high school. So we were like, our dating.
Oh, that's weird. And then not only dating, but it's like, it's working out.
Right. Well, my mom called around the town to find lawyers to do a seminar about how to be more successful. This is what she used to do. She used to like literally create all these jobs. And she called him and they were talking and he asked her out. And then they went out on the first date. He said, will you marry me? I'm like, what a schmuck,
First date?
Wow.
And I was, I think, like 15 and Zach was 9 or something. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And is that, and did you cohabitate at that point?
We did part-time. We both
Yeah.
lived at our mom's half the time and our dad half the time, one of those situations. But there's so many stories about us being in the house together with the therapy stuff because Zach's father, who was a lawyer, became a quote unquote therapist. And my mom and Hal, my stepfather, ran couples courses out of the house. It's like Meet the Fockers. Exactly.
So, I mean, and I guess that's, as I'm thinking back, is that also what Ian Holm does in Garden State, right? Is that?
Yes.
Yeah. So as you're saying this, I'm like, why am I also picturing it with the actor Ian Holm? So, I mean, that's a lot of so what is the biggest family trip you went on, let's say, before you were 18 years old? How many people?
Oh my God. Well, we all, these are amazing. I was so glad to do this podcast. We all went to an island. I think it was in Mexico. I don't know, but we all went to an island. It was St. Croix, actually.
Okay.
They're all the same thing. And we, had a great time there. Like the kids, we all like partied and we had fun. And then during the trip, we get a call that, my sister had to go back early back home for something. And my father, it's a little confusing, but my mom's ex-husband walked her to the door of the house because she was scared. It was at night. And she walked in and there was stuff everywhere. Like the house had been robbed. I don't know why because it's such a crazy story. You'll know why I'm laughing. So there was like nothing there. Like they took like the mixer, like they took everything. TVs. I mean, I'm not kidding. Like it was ransacked. And then my dad walked her around the house and someone had defecated on my stepfather's pillow.
Wow.
That's sort of
very aggressive, right?
Very
that
aggressive.
That Zorro's signature whenever it
really crazy.
Involves human stool. I always It's just that last indignity. It's like it wasn't enough you took the mixers.
Also, if the cops came and they were like, we're going to look for some DNA evidence, and they saw that and they were like, we're going to keep looking. Maybe there's some other good DNA we can use.
Yeah, and they had time. They had enough time there to like have it come in, start and then to push it out. Like it was, it's a lot. I know.
I will say, if you've ever like wondered what it would feel like to poop on your own carpet, I think like wait until your house gets broken into, and then before you call the cops. Like, because that's the one time you can get away with it. You know what I mean?
I suppose.
Yeah, that's true. That's real.
How old was your sister when she got back to this ransacked house?
I mean, she was maybe like 19 or 20.
Okay. So she was of an age where she could be home alone and, but still,
she was like freaking out. She called us and we were like, what? And I had pot in my drawer. That was really the worst part. They took my pot.
Were you asking like questions without really asking? Like, what about the socks? Did they leave the socks?
Yeah, I'm like, what about my room? Is the 6-foot bong missing? Yeah.
I was working on a sort of a pipe project, you might say. Yeah.
I'm saving oregano. Did they take my oregano? Yeah.
That's incredible. But you did. So you did travel with half. Did you travel with siblings and half siblings?
Yeah, I went to Aspen with my dad and my stepmother and my two actually and my sister. The other ones weren't born yet, and we were going to Vail for the night to like just go skiing somewhere else. This is unbelievable too. My dad called a limo, a limo driver, and the guy came, and it was literally one of those limos. Like it was like 100 feet long, like huge. Like I couldn't even see my father from the back, And we had like 86 bags because we had so much luggage. So my sister, my stepmother, and I are in the back, and there's like rows of luggage in front of us, and my dad's in the front, and he was like a very dramatic person, like just very intense. And the limo driver was driving it into a snowstorm. Like I'm not even exaggerating. It wasn't just like flurrying. It was just, but they're used to driving in that. So he's driving this thing. He's like, "Oh, I'm tired from shoveling snow all day." And my dad gets like tense, and he's like, "You want me to drive? I don't want you to drive, everyone tired. My family's in the car." And he's like, no, I'm fine. And I'm not kidding. We're on a highway, like just driving from Aspen to Vail in this snowstorm. And he's like, "I just saw a light." And my father's like, looks back and he's like, "What the fuck is he talking about?" The next thing you know, the guy goes like this, like his arms get locked, and he looks back at us and he's like, and I'm like, is he like looking at us like, "Look, I can drive with no hands"? I'm like, what is happening? All of a sudden, this foam starts coming out. He's had a seizure with his foot on the gas.
Oh my God. I thought he was turning into a vampire, but
I did too.
I wish.
Yeah, right.
He was we were accelerating. He was driving on a highway on the mountains in a snowstorm, and we're swerving. Okay.
Uh-huh.
My father he tries to pull him, and he's dead weight. Like I never knew when you have a seizure, you're like, you can't even move. And my father's yanking him, and he yanks him into the door. The guy hits his head. And I don't know how my father did this. It was a miracle because he can't even change a light bulb. He pumped the brake and steered us into, and we crashed into a snowbank, but we were all okay. I think because we were in a tank. Yeah.
As a dad, may it never come to pass. I would be so proud of myself if I managed to do something.
But he had a literal nervous breakdown. He got out of the car and was like screaming and, and like this. And the guy didn't remember a thing. And we were all okay, but the car was, the car wasn't okay. And there was just like gloves and mittens and shit everywhere.
And then no one really has that much sympathy when a limo's crashed into a snowbank.
Especially a 100-yard long limo.
The longest limo. People are just driving by, you're waving your hands. You're like, why don't you call your butler?
Yeah, they're like, "Oh, they got a train here." Yeah, it was so long. That thing was like, it was intense.
Wow. Do you ski now?
I don't ski anymore because I have a bad knee, but I skied my whole life in the Berkshires. I grew up with a house, a home like a tiny little home that my parents built many, 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 many years ago. So it was great.
You have 4 kids of your own, is that right?
I do. I have 4 daughters from 2 baby mamas.
Oh my God, that's amazing. What's the age range of them?
I forgot. No,
that's fine. I do too.
I know. The oldest is 18. She's at University of Delaware, and then you're not gonna believe this, but the youngest are 9.5, and then I have 6-year-old twins.
Oh my gosh, that's a gap.
It's a lot. Well, because the first one was from my first relationship.
Yep.
And that wasn't even legally. We got married, but it wasn't legal at the time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, it was, but then I have these.
So it doesn't really count, is what you're saying. You're like, nobody can put that on you because it never actually happened legally.
I know. I was like, thank God. I can't stand. Joke. But I have all these.
Have you gone on a vacation with all 4 girls at once?
Not all 4, but I've gone to a bunch with, 1 and then the other 3. Yeah.
Is it, at what age do you think it's the most fun to go on a trip with just one kid? For the kids' age.
I know. It's so much easier, right?
Yeah.
At what age?
Yeah, I've been trying this year, like to take trips with just one kid, and I almost think it doesn't even matter how old they are because it's just so much fun when there's just one of them.
I think it's really important to go with just one. I
Yeah.
really do. Like I went with my daughter Zoe, the oldest, to Florida, and we had such a great time. And they need that alone time.
Yeah,
I think it's great you're doing that. I mean, I would love to do that with the little ones, but it's too much right now. They like freak out that
right.
it's going and the other two aren't.
Are they, as the twins, are they very close? Are they sort of attached?
They are.
Like,
They've got closer.
okay.
They used to argue a lot more, but they're so funny with each other now. I'm so silly with my kids, so they're really, really silly. But it's amazing. They're fraternal, but they look nothing alike. I mean, it's insane.
Mm-hmm.
One is like has light hair and light eyes, and the other one is dark with dark hair and dark eyes.
Was there any sort of a genetic predisposition to twins? Did either one of you had twins in your life?
No. We I didn't have any of them because I never had a desire to have kids. That's the truth. Meaning physically, I never had the desire. And we did in vitro, so that of course gives you a higher chance of having twins. But we were like, oh my God, there's twins. Like it was a lot.
Yeah.
How did the 9-year-old take it when she found out she was about to have 2 younger sisters at once?
I think she was excited, but it's been like, she was like the superstar. And then there's these 2 little kids that come along. I think it's hard. It's hard with one, right? With one's coming, but then it's 2. It's tough. Yeah.
Hey, we're going to take a quick break and hear from some of our sponsors.
Support comes from Blueland. Hey, Bashi.
Yes, Sufi.
When was the last time, be honest, you actually checked the ingredients in your dishwasher pods?
Well, it was right before I switched over to Blueland.
Oh, you took a look? You thought, you know what? You were like, Blueland's talking a big game, but I bet I'm going to open up my dishwasher pod and they're just going to be full of like angel kisses and unicorn laughter.
Yeah, not the case. Spoiler alert, they were full of chemicals and microplastics that can stay on your dishes even after they're washed. Studies show that this residue ends up inside of you, causing inflammation and gut damage. But Blueland's dishwasher detergent tablets are 100% plastic-free and made with certified, clean ingredients that are safe for the whole family.
You just fill your reusable bottles with water, drop in the tablets, and wait for them to dissolve. You'll never have to grab bulky cleaning supplies on your grocery run. Blueland products are effective and affordable, with refill tablets starting at just $2.25. You can get even more savings by buying refills in bulk or setting up a subscription.
Blueland products are independently tested to perform alongside major brands and are free from dyes, bleach, and harsh chemicals. And Blueland is trusted in over 1 million homes, including mine.
I really like Posh. I'll just tell you. I prefer, drop a tablet in, let it dissolve and clean, to, go run to the store and buy a new big old bottle of soap.
Yeah, a big old bottle of soap in a huge, probably not really recyclable plastic container.
Yeah.
Because those days are over, thanks to Blueland.
Blueland has a special offer for our listeners. Right now, get 15% off your first order by going to blueland.com/trips. You won't want to miss this. Blueland.com/trips for 15% off. That's blueland.com/trips to get 15% off. Support comes from Delete Me. Hey, Bashi.
Yes, Sufi.
Do you like things that are easy, quick, and safe?
Yeah, those are some of my favorite things.
Do you like when people steal your personal data?
I hate that.
Guess what? I got good news.
What's that?
Delete Me makes it easy, quick, and safe to remove your personal data online at a time when surveillance and data breaches are common enough to make everyone vulnerable. Pasha, you always say, you want things to be easy, quick, and safe, correct?
Yeah, 100%.
You also say you love when people steal your data and use it to do whatever they want with it.
I don't say that.
Oh, okay. I misread your last email. And you know who gave it to me? It wasn't even from you. You sent it to somebody else and a data broker sold it to me.
No, that's the worst.
You got to get Delete Me because it knows your privacy is worth protecting. Sign up and you provide Delete Me with exactly what information you want deleted. And the experts take it from there. And by the way, not a one-time service, Pashi.
Oh, no, not at all. Delete Me is always working for you, constantly monitoring and removing the personal information you don't want on the internet.
What was your last report, Pashi? What got out of there?
Just my information was on all these sites that you've never even heard of, but when you hear the names of them, you know, I don't want these people to have
Yeah.
my info. My data?
Shadybros.com.
Yeah, like
They had it.
shadybros.com. It's, yeah.
The Sketchy Brothers. The Sketchy Brothers had all your info.
Yeah.
That's no good.
Yeah. Bad guys.
Don't be a victim of identity theft or harassment or doxing. Take control of your data and keep your private life private by signing up for Delete Me now at a special discount for our listeners. Get 20% off your Delete Me plan when you go to joindeleteme.com/trips and use promo code TRIPS at checkout. The only way to get 20% off is go to joindeleteme.com/trips and enter code TRIPS at checkout. That's joindeleteme.com/trips. Code TRIPS.
Here we go.
Did you guys ever go overseas with travel when you were a kid?
We went to St. Thomas every year.
Gotcha.
No idea why.
Same place where your family kind that would go to the same place every time?
Yeah, it was just, oh my God. It was like the same thing as going to Florida. Like I felt like we saw the same people.
Yeah.
And it was just, it was fun, but we didn't do like a overseas trip, all of us together. Because my parents probably would have killed each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank God.
What was the island itinerary? What would occupy your time in St. Thomas every year?
We did a lot of like activities. It was great, like water skiing and all kinds of stuff. And I loved.
So were you at a resort or were you?
Yes, it was called the Fisherman's Reef. I don't even know if it's still there.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great name for a resort.
Isn't it? It's amazing.
I feel like that is like just a name that is like a siren call to people who live in New Jersey. Ooh, Fisherman's Reef. Tell me more.
Yeah. Oh, you're going to the Fisherman's Reef? How
Ah,
was it? Tell me how it was.
guess somebody hit the big time. Now they're going to the Fisherman's Reef.
Yeah, it was. I grew up like around some people who had money, but they were so down to earth. Like I love where I grew up. It wasn't showy, but then if you get into some other towns around it, like Livingston, Short Hills, like it's very showy.
Yeah. Was the Berkshire's house, was that just sort of a vacation house that you'd go to? And would you go regularly or?
Yeah, we went all the time, in the summer and in the winter. And I love it. I love it there. It's amazing. It's just so beautiful. And that's where we really did a lot of different, like horseback riding and hiking. And the house is right near a lake. So it was great. It was so much fun.
Are you an outdoorsy person?
No.
Like to this day? No. You don't present as one.
That's hilarious. Which is shocking, right, for a lesbian?
It must have been so hard for you in the lesbian community to be indoorsy.
It still is. I'm really more so in the gay male community. That's really my community.
I will say it's you're a special, by the way, which is on Hulu right now. Is fantastic. It is fantastic. The immediate joy from the male gay community when you walk on stage is palpable.
It's insane. They're literally like, thank God for that community because they're making my career where it is.
When has that always been the case? When do you feel like this love affair started?
Well, this is the thing. When I'm on the road, I would just do my act, right? But then I started putting out crowd work clips because I'm like, I'm not going to put out my material on TikTok or YouTube or
burn it.
So I started putting out a lot of crowd work stuff. And then, gay men were always supportive, but I have this banter with them. Like I know that community so well. I do gay cruises, for thousands of them. It's hilarious. And I have a whole new bit about that, like a 10-minute rant about gay cruises. But
all right, well now I don't want you to steal your material, but I am fascinated by this. So what do you remember the first time you were asked to do comedy on a cruise?
Well, I've done a lot of like regular cruises too, which are a nightmare. I just want to like jump off. Like I can't.
And when you do a cruise, do you do multiple shows or do you just do the one?
It depends. Like on the gay cruises, you normally do like one night. You'll do 2 45-minute sets. It's very easy. And you can do the same show just so they can get the thousands of guys in.
And how long do you stay on for if you're doing 2 shows, maybe in one night? Are you on for 10 days? Or are you on for?
I've gone on for a week. I've gone on for 2 weeks. I've been all over the world with them. Like literally, I've been on the Greek islands 3 times with them. I mean, it's incredible. I've seen so many places because of these cruises. And it's unbelievable how like fun they are. I mean, they get the best DJs in the world. They get the best laser lighting. Like it's insane. And then they have theme parties every day, every night, so basically the gay men bring like 6 bags each of costumes. And I've done the lesbian ones too. And I say they bring a backpack of gear. Like it's just, I'm like, are we going to Normandy? Like it looks like I'm on with like 800 GI Joes. But anyway, so they're just incredible. They have a sex deck. This is what I talk about. They have a deck that they fool around. And I know this sounds crazy, but I had to check it out because I'm like, I need.
Of course, if you're within earshot of the sex deck,
I had to.
You got to check it out.
Do they make you put like your phone in a pouch, like you're going to see live comedy, so you're not?
Could you imagine?
Yeah.
No, I was like, I said to my friend Drew, what do I do if someone recognizes me? Like I already performed for thousands of them, and he told me to tell them I'm a bear.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good advice. Yeah.
So, but I went up there and I swear it was like feeding time at the zoo. It was so, I just heard sounds like, yeah, come on. It was so crazy. And then I got sick on one with my stomach and I had to go down to the ship hospital, which was insane. I got taken off the cruise on a stretcher in Alaska. And I was fine, but I always say there's nothing as dramatic as getting taken off a gay cruise ship on a stretcher, like that's the performer that they love. It was like Princess Diana's funeral. They were like, live, Queen, live! Like they were all on their balconies, like
while the DJ's like, boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, they're like, come on, hope you're okay. Yeah, it was amazing.
That's unbelievable. Do you prefer to do your show early in a cruise or late in the cruise? I would imagine early is nice because then you get to be the celeb of the cruise too.
Right. And I've done them with a lot of people, like, Wanda Sykes, a ton of people. I did it with Kristen Chenoweth, with, oh my God, I can name so many people. So it's great because you're with all these incredible performers and drag queens. And
I think nothing would reveal how little a person knew about gay cruises than if they asked the question, and did they like Kristen Chenoweth? And how did Kristen do? Heavy sledding for Kristen?
Did they know?
Did they know who she was? Did she have that at least? I mean, that must be. I mean, I would want to be in a room at a gay cruise and they're like, ladies and gentlemen, Kristen Chenoweth.
Oh my God.
I mean, it must be.
God,
yeah.
they go, they pass out. They're all like fanning themselves. And
at this point, do you feel like your reputation precedes you a little bit on the cruises? And like, when you walk out, is it like your special where people are just like ready for Jessica?
Yeah, I'd say in front of the gay men, it's always like, I really have amazing fans. I know people say that, but like every club I go to, every theater, they're like, your fans are the nicest.
That's such a great thing to hear.
I know. I'm like, because they're all mentally ill. Like my manager says I'm like the Grateful Dead for the mentally ill. Like I used to do meet and greets and I literally would just have people sobbing and hugging me. I'm like, I can't. This is great and you're wonderful, but this is a lot for me to.
It's a very fun. One of the very fun things about your special is you're immediately doing material that is, it's risque, right? I'll use my mom's French term for it, and yet they're just eating it up in a way that it's very clear they're not like, who's this comedian going to be? Like they know exactly what you're going to bring it. You're bringing it to them in a way that they're so delighted by, and it's really, really fun.
Thank you. I mean, this one was definitely edgier than the last one. And I think because I was going through a dark point in my life, when I was developing it, I got divorced. So I think like going through that and just being edgy, and also these gay male audiences where you kind of can just go, like, they just don't get offended 99% of the time. So I was able to just be like nuts. And, it was freeing. Like I didn't even realize it was dirty until people said, "Oh, this is dirty." I'm like, "Oh my God, I'm so."
I want everybody listening to watch the first 10 minutes and then know that Jessica didn't know it was dirty.
Well, I think because I'm you know what, Seth? It's so real. Like I'm never
Yes.
saying something to
No,
just.
and I should say, like, right, it's not shock. It's not, it's because it's also about you.
Yeah, it's
Like there's,
personal, too.
yeah. So it all is like playing out of authentic stuff. This is not a comedy to like shock just for shocking's sake. And I think that's maybe why there's this real warmth to it that,
Mm.
you know, you find yourself listening to it as a place of like empathy with you as a performer, and then also just delighting in how far, you know, past there's like beats after beats after beats when you realize like, oh my God, I can't believe this started there and now it's here, and it's all from this very human place.
Yeah, thank you so much. I mean, it's so funny because the stuff I'm working on now is not like that at all. It's a lot about my mom being a therapist. Again, like I've talked about that in the past, but it's interesting, you know, how your material changes.
Yes. It is nice too when it's a snapshot of like, I mean, again, the last one I did is like very much about being a parent, and part of it is like a complete, I can't imagine. I wasn't even literally thinking about anything else for the past 3 years.
Right.
Did your parents ever see, did they come and watch you perform?
Oh my God, all the time. They've always been very supportive. My mom loves that everyone recognizes her, because not everyone, but I've done videos with her, which have gotten millions of views. So she's like, oh, someone came up to me at the show. And,
Yeah.
you know,
We got one of those.
you do?
Our mom just got recognized by her voice in a grocery store from being
What?
on the podcast.
Yeah,
That's
she comes on
really-
the bus. Yeah.
Like, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So she was real.
Well,
happy.
it had an OMG on the text when she told us about it.
Yeah,
So,
so
she was excited.
The other day, my mom texted me and she's like, oh my God, honey, you're not going to believe it, but I was at the hairdresser and he was so much nicer to me because he watched your special and he's a huge fan. And I just appreciate, I'm like, oh God, can I have money? Like,
You just greasing the wheels of your mother's life. That's excellent.
Do you think it was just the way they were wired to be parents, or the fact that they were therapists, that they like sort of supported you as you took this sort of maybe, you know, not the most normal path for someone to take in life?
you know what? I think that I was going to NYU for a master's in social work and I was not happy. I did not want to do it. And I think just from knowing how funny I was my entire life, like I was, you know, a lot of people say, but I was really the class clown from like a very, very young age.
And they appreciated your sense of humor from a young age? That's great.
They always did. And my father was one of the funniest people on earth. They're both hilarious. I mean, I grew up in a very funny family. And I also, because with my mom, Zach was a child actor. So he was already in it and doing it. And my, you know, other stepbrothers are writers. So it was like they were already writing stuff and working on things. And they came to the first show and I mean, I was horrific, but they saw the potential, I guess. And they really supported it. But my dad, this is a great story about my dad. When I filmed my Comedy Central special, this is so random. You guys are gonna be like, what are you talking about? But Phil Donahue and Marlo Thomas came to my show. So
Great.
crazy because they're huge fans.
By the way, I not to interrupt, I just saw Marlo Thomas
Really?
in person. And I was so excited because I got to tell Marlo Thomas that we've been playing Free to Be You and Me
I know.
to our kids. And I was just telling her,
Yes.
like, you were so ahead of the curve. Like, such a novel, cool thing to do that holds
I
up
know.
really well.
That is the best. I know that's the best Free to Be Me. I love it.
All right. So you have Donahue and Crazy for an early show to have them there at a special.
In my special, I say, you know, Phil, are you sleeping or something like that? And I always do that. I just improv. But I look out and they're sitting there and I'm like, am I on acid? Like, why are Phil Donahue and Marla? And anyway, they came backstage after. And my father, who was very supportive in certain ways and very tough in certain ways, you know, Marlo's like, can you believe her? How did you think she did? And he goes, she was great, but she lost stride in the middle. And it was like one of the best sets I've ever had in my life. I mean, I couldn't have asked for, but I think also that's made me work so hard, like just really always tough on myself.
Also think I'll take every day of the week a parent who is engaged and maybe a little critical as to one who doesn't care at all, right?
I agree.
So lucky to be doing comedy. And I remember I did a show in Boston. My parents came, and my
Who had a
dad,
note, dad or mom?
I love who had a note.
but my dad brought a bunch of cousins, and we're backstage afterwards with everybody. And again, it's the greatest compliment a parent can give. Like, he knows the set at this point, and he goes, "New closer," and I go, "Yeah, I'm really excited. I think it did great." He goes, "Yeah, not bad."
Yeah.
And I was like, and so that's like, I go, that's ultimately what you get, is you have a dad who knows you have a new closer and also is like, doesn't quite think it's there yet. And by the way, I kept working on it and he was right. So
I did a gig in Florida at University of, I don't know, it was in Fort Lauderdale. It was a cavernous room, and there were like 300 people there. I probably sat 2,000.
Right.
And I was on with all these comics, Jewish. Well, they weren't all Jewish, actually. And my grandmother came with like 10 people from her development. This is so random who was there. I had college friends there from my sorority from University of Maryland, and Sarah Silverman's father. This was all the people. Yep. She's like, my father is a huge fan, wants to come to your show. I had one of the worst sets I've had in my entire career. There was, there's nothing I could do. Like, you go into the crowd, you say, what is a funeral? I mean, I tried everything. Nothing worked. It was 20 minutes, felt like 2 hours. And I go backstage and I'm miserable and embarrassed. And all the comics are like, you did fine. It wasn't that bad. And I'm like, it was horrific. Like, I don't know what you're talking. Then my college friends come back and they're like, you were so funny. You were like amazing. We were laughing so hard. And I'm like, what's going on? And then Sarah Silverman's father comes back and he's like, good job. You did it. Like, I think he was just trying to be nice.
Yeah.
My grandmother walks back with these 10 old people and they're all standing around me and they're not even smiling at me because they know it was not good.
Yeah.
And my grandmother looks at me and she goes, what happened? It was horrible. You embarrassed me in front of my friends. And I literally gave her a hug. I'm like, thank you for being so honest.
Yeah.
It was horrible.
It's really funny to say that in front of the friends you just embarrassed her in front of.
I know.
It's like, you embarrassed me in front of my friends, and now I, in turn, shall embarrass you in front of my friends.
Generation would just embarrass you in public all the time. I mean, she would be like, she would walk into like a Macy's with me and be like, wear the clothes for the fat kids. The ones who can't stop eating. Where's that section?
Well, it's just wonderful. I'm so glad. I was going to ask if you ever had a chance to perform in front of her as well. So I'm so glad that you did. And obviously, my only regret is that you had a bad show.
No, she was the one that told me to get into stand-up.
God love her.
Times she called me over to her and said, you need to be a comedian. I said, I could never do that. And she's like, every time you're sitting with people, they're laughing. You need to try stand-up comedy.
That's
and
wonderful.
I'm a big fan of comedy. And I took a class and I was like, oh, here's my community. Like, this is where I belong.
It's great.
Yeah.
This has been fantastic. I highly recommend your special for everybody who's listening. It's on Hulu. It's wonderful. And we now are going to speed round you. All right,
okay,
Jessica?
good. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm the Man is the name of that special. Just if you're looking.
I was worried Josh was shouting out.
Yeah, just a quick flex before we get into the Q&As.
I'm the Man, Seth is the boy.
Yeah.
Just say it.
All right, here we go. You can only pick one of these. Is your ideal vacation relaxing, adventurous, or educational?
Relaxing.
What is your favorite means of transportation?
Crawling.
No, there says crawling. That's a good, yeah.
Because I'm depressed. I think flying.
Okay. If you could take a vacation with any family, alive or dead, real or fictional, other than your own family, what family would you like to travel with?
Oh, that's so interesting. The Trumps. No, I'm joking. I think
that Qatari plane. Got to get a ride on a Qatari plane.
Yeah, I know. It's
beautiful.
It's
a beautiful plane.
It's huge.
Everybody said.
Yeah, I think, I believe it or not, I'd want to Your family sounds interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
You're not a bad pick. Not a bad pick.
I think maybe like this is going to sound weird, but Lady Gaga's family. I've been obsessed with her recently. I think she's incredible.
Yeah.
Perfectly good
Well, she
person to be
is.
obsessed with. Yeah.
If you had to be stranded on a desert island with one member of your family, who would it be?
Oh my God. And it could be anyone in my family.
Anyone living or dead.
I can't pick one of my kids. So I'm going to say my sister, Jennifer.
Okay. You're from, is it South Orange, New Jersey? Do I have that correct?
Yes.
Would you recommend South Orange, New Jersey as a vacation destination?
100%. I absolutely love where I grew up. I think everyone check it out. It's a great area.
All right,
Great.
Yeah.
And Seth has our final questions.
Jessica, have you been to the Grand Canyon?
Yes.
Was it worth it?
Yes.
All
Yeah.
right. I didn't know how this was going to break.
Yeah, we've
Yeah,
been. I love it. Seth is not.
I thought it was fine. I thought it was right down the middle.
Oh my God. Wait, do you have a minute? What
Yeah,
did
of course.
you think was not great about it?
I didn't say it wasn't. Because it was exactly what I thought it would be.
Yeah.
You know
Just
what I mean? Like was it a Grand Canyon? Sure. But like, what is that? What's that doing for me?
Yeah, I understand. I mean, it was maybe because that was one of the first places I saw that was like mountains and nature.
Yeah,
It was,
I get it.
the first time a very long time ago. But then when I was like in other places in America, I was like, wow, this country is beautiful. I mean, it's falling apart, but it's beautiful.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
And the good thing about a canyon is like, even when it falls apart, it kind of looks like a canyon. It'll be the last thing people notice. Like, no one's ever gonna be like, you know what went to shit? That hole in the ground.
Right. No one will ever notice that it got worse.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, if people have been around for billions of years, they'd be like, the canyon used to be great. It was just,
It's only getting bigger.
it's only, it's like where erosion's helping out. The canyon's like, we got big stuff planned. Come back in a million years. You think it's grand now?
Yeah.
Oh, come back in a million years.
It'll just be a hole. Yeah.
Yeah. It has been a delight talking to you. Thank you so much for joining us. Love to you and your family.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me on.